Good morning. Thank you very much to AAMA for inviting me to speak with you here this morning. I'm honored in the past to have represented Honda on the AAMA board, and I'm certainly proud to be part of the Alabama automobile industry and this distinguished group of manufacturers. Let me also say thank you to the Honda suppliers who are with us today. Your commitment and dedication as we work together to exceed the expectations of our customers is greatly appreciated. It's been a challenging time in many ways, and this global pandemic has impacted our workforces, and part shortages have disrupted our supply chain. But we've worked together to keep our lines running, and most importantly, our associates on the job. Soichiro Honda created our company around the idea that the purpose of technology is to help people. He and his co-founder, Takeo Fujisawa, believed this was possible only with a team of people who possess the will and determination to constantly challenge conventional thinking. Consider that Honda was just one of hundreds of small companies trying to establish a motorcycle business in post-war Japan. But even as a small company, our founders were talking about a global viewpoint and worldwide customer satisfaction. So just a decade after founding the company in Japan, Mr. Honda entered his little company in the world's most challenging racing series and began doing business right here in America. That Honda would win that global racing series and become the #1 motorcycle brand in America, demonstrating the power of that will and determination. And by taking on difficult challenges that united and motivated his engineers, Mr. Honda's challenging spirit became the soul of our company. This challenging spirit remains alive and well today, reflected in what we call the power of dreams. This reflects not only the desire to dream of new ideas to help our customers, and also the determination to turn those dreams into reality in the form of new products and services that help people. Honda's Alabama auto plant is a product of this challenging spirit. More than 20 years ago, Honda announced it would build a new vehicle and engine facility in Lincoln, Alabama. And just 2 years later, on November 14th, 2001, about 1,200 Alabama associates, some of whom had been with Honda for less than a month, cheered as the first Honda Odyssey built in Alabama rolled off that final assembly line. It's hard to believe that 1 month from today, we will celebrate the 20th anniversary of that special moment. And it's actually funny, because I remember our time just after we arrived in Alabama, before we'd even broken ground on the new factory. I had come from Ohio and moved here with my family. We also had a number of team members who had joined us from Canada as well as Japan. And there weren't a lot of us, only about 30. And we worked in an old AT&T building in Pell City, Alabama. We decided a good way to bond with our local community would be to join the local softball league. We were just 30-some years old, working long days, stressful. We need to let this energy out at the end of the day. Anyway, we went big with this idea. We practiced. We even got these fancy Honda jerseys that said the Odysseys on the front after the first product that we were going to build at our new factory. Long story short, we show up to the first game all primed in our fancy jerseys and full of energy, and then the opposing team showed up. These local dudes didn't even have uniforms. They had t-shirts, cut off sleeves. They had their numbers taped on the back of the jersey. So instantly we knew we were in trouble. You know the end of this story. This local team proceeded to give us an Alabama ass whooping that day. So it was definitely good for their team morale, and it was actually a very good lesson for us. We saw firsthand the type of people we would be hiring for our team, strong, hardworking people who also were fun, passionate, and daggone it, they were competitive. The kind of teammates who came ready to do the job, even if that job was dominating us on the softball field that day. Not long after that, our same project team and a group of associates from Honda facilities all across North America were ready to introduce ourselves to Alabama by hosting a community supper at the infield of the Talladega Speedway. And when I say community, we invited the entire city of Lincoln, all our neighbors, everybody could come. And that day, our role was to sit at the gate of the Talladega Speedway in our red Honda jackets and welcome all these new guests to our party. And the first thing I learned about Alabama is they really know how to do a handshake. So it was men, women, and children who could see me in my red jacket as they came towards the gate. And I could see in their eyes, they're sizing up, there's one of those Ohio guys, and I'm gonna welcome them to the state of Alabama. And they did. They showed us their Southern hospitality, and they let us know what they were all about. We served Dreamland Barbecue that day, we socialized, and we just enjoyed the time to get to know our neighbors. And I still remember so many smiling, eager, welcoming faces telling me how grateful they were that Honda decided to build a plant in their community. Here we had hosted this event to meet our new neighbors, and they turned it into an event to welcome us. Fast forward to a little more than a year later, and there we stood cheering with many of those same smiling faces as part of our production team. As the engine cranked on that first Odyssey when it drove off the assembly line, that was a great day. Since that day, we've grown a great deal. In addition to that original Line 1, as well as a state-of-the-art engine facility, we also expanded to include a second assembly line at our site there in Lincoln. We built six different vehicles over the years, including multiple generations of many of them, like the 2017 North America Truck of the Year, the Honda Ridgeline. So it might seem ironic that one of the best examples of our challenging spirit in action was actually our production of a passenger car. Back during the recession of 2009, we expanded our lineup to include not only light trucks, but also the best-selling Honda Accord. It's probably hard to believe today with the entire market skewed toward light truck, including our business, but at that time, high gas prices drove our customers towards these passenger cars. We needed to add the Honda Accord to help meet strong demand for that product, one of Honda's most popular vehicles, and we needed to add the Accord to keep our lines running and our associates working. So bringing in new vehicles isn't a fast process, especially a passenger car on the same line with a bunch of light trucks. But our team was able to make that switch in record time and never miss a beat. Earlier this year, for the third straight year, we were honored that all four of our vehicles, the Honda Ridgeline, Passport, Pilot, and Odyssey, were named the Cars.com list of the top 10 vehicles made in the United States based on percentage of domestic content. We're very proud of that. As we prepare to celebrate the anniversary of the very first Odyssey next month, over 4,500 associates now have built more than 5 million vehicles and V6 engines in Alabama. That is 5 million more happy and safe customers on the road and 5 million more world-class vehicles built by our dedicated team of associates here in Alabama. That is a challenging spirit at work. Through this growth over the past 20 years, our Alabama auto plant has become Honda's primary light truck production source. And we, like many of you, have seen the products, tools, equipment, and processes adapt and transform our business in incredible ways. When I first joined Honda in 1988 as an engineer straight out of college, we only had one computer in our office. We all shared it. Everything was done by paper at that time. Today, we all have multiple devices. We have applications at our fingertips, new software tools that allow us to communicate virtually face-to-face in real time throughout our global operations. I'll be sitting in a meeting room all by myself on a Zoom meeting with Japan, answering emails on my iPad and getting texts about daily production. And I'm looking around the room right now, half of you are answering work emails as I'm giving this speech. So I understand, right? The technological innovation we have seen in every aspect of our lives is amazing. As we have grown more tech savvy, so have the vehicles our customers want to buy. Almost all vehicles now have advanced technology as standard equipment. Features such as collision sensing systems, backup cameras, and connected car technologies. The V6 engine that we first started building here in Alabama has become more complex with the introduction of programmed fuel injection, a technology that was in its infancy when we first started. We've had to transform our technology to meet the demands of our customers. And now, 20 years later, the conversation has turned towards another form of vehicle propulsion, electrification. Analysts predict we will see more changes in our industry in the next 10 years than we have experienced in the past 100. And this means that our auto industry collectively and as individual companies is at a crossroads. We are at a point where the coming years will transform not only how we look at mobility, but what it takes to work in this industry. Electrification certainly has a big role in the future, and how to incorporate it into an existing product portfolio is a challenge facing every traditional automaker right now. For Honda, we already make several electrified vehicles here in the US, including the CR-V hybrid, the Accord hybrid, and the Insight. In fact, the first generation Insight was the first hybrid electric vehicle sold in the US. It happened to be the same year we announced our plans to build a plant here in Alabama. And Honda's #1 today, leading all full-line automakers in fuel efficiency and in low CO2 emissions. But let's be clear, the future and direction of environmental requirements is not low CO2 emissions. It is zero CO2 emissions. Earlier this year, our Honda Motor Company president, Toshihiro Mibe, outlined Honda's vision for electrification, as well as new targets for our ongoing efforts to improve the environment and the safety of our products. By 2050, Honda will strive to achieve carbon neutrality. That means net zero CO2 emissions from our vehicles and our operations globally. And step by step, Honda's entire lineup will become 100% electrified by 2040. 100% electric in less than 20 years. That's a transformation. And that scares the crap out of me, honestly. As Honda's largest source for light trucks, our Alabama-built vehicles aren't what many think of when talking about electrification. However, based on my own experience working at Honda, this is just the type of challenge we thrive on. We've constantly innovated our assembly lines so that we can produce the vehicles of the future, and it looks like we'll have to do that a lot more. That takes a challenging spirit. Honda's first volume battery electric vehicle to kickstart our transition to this new technology will come in 2024, appropriately called the Honda Prologue. And as we move to 100% BEV and fuel cell propelled automobiles by 2040, of course, our sales of vehicles powered by internal combustion engines, or ICE, will eventually decline to zero. But our manufacturing and sales of ICE-powered products will still be a significant part of our business for many years to come. And while our ICE sales wind down over the next 20 years, our BEV sales will ramp up as we strive to keep our annual sales volume at around 1.5 million Hondas and Acuras. So the business we know today is not going away anytime soon. But this new era of mobility will require us to once again tap into the challenging spirit we have come to know and do what we have done so well in the past, transform. You could say that Honda, this longtime global automaker and mobility-minded company, is in fact in the mode of a startup company with our BEV business. And looking back, Honda's always been good at this kind of challenge, big or small. Let me give you an example, a very small example, but practical, of this from right in our own backyard. Several years ago, we had a problem with our parking lot. Our associates had to access a 2-lane bridge over railroad tracks to get out of our parking. This 2-lane bridge became a bottleneck at shift change, as thousands of our associates are coming and going. And after a hard day's work, the last thing you want to do is sit in traffic trying to get home to your family. We investigated expanding that bridge, but that solution would have taken 18 months and a few $1 million. Instead, we looked deeper and found that according to regulations, that bridge was already wide enough to safely fit 3 lanes. We just needed to make it happen. So in a few weeks, we restriped the traffic lanes, put up some safety barriers, and eliminated the bottleneck out of our parking lot. This seems like a very basic solution. I know it does to you. But it gives insight to the Honda way. We pride ourselves on efficiency, and we don't use money as our first option. We focus on improving in the quickest and most efficient way possible, and we count on our associates, their ideas, and their determination to overcome obstacles. But for our generation right now, the biggest challenge for all of us, is the transition to electrified vehicles. And I would say that this kind of challenge, where there's a lot at stake, and success requires that we all pull together as one team, our most proven and true strength will come from our team of associates. Our Alabama associates who come to work each day in Lincoln to give their best in order to build nothing but the best for our customers. So yes, after 20 years of building products in Alabama, our challenging spirit is alive and well, and Honda continues to pursue new initiatives that advance every aspect of our manufacturing operations in North America. Looking back, our success has really been a result of good relationships in our own team of associates, with our community, with our business partners, and especially with the state of Alabama, and the desire to find new innovative ways to meet and exceed the growing demands of our customers. Looking ahead, we are focused on continuing to transform our operations to meet the challenges of the present and the future at the same time. This includes working to attract and prepare the next generation of skilled associates who will represent the manufacturing workforce of the future. This is not just about Honda. We recognize the future of this nation will remain in our ability to make things. We see it as our responsibility as a manufacturer to help government and educators develop programs that motivate today's students to pursue manufacturing careers and equip them with the skills to fill them. And we are hiring, so I'm gonna stop. This is the advantage of speaking last. We are hiring. I brought cards with me, and I think we're the best place to work in the state of Alabama. So in summary, over the past 20 years, I've witnessed firsthand the success Honda has enjoyed in Alabama. And on behalf of our Honda team in Lincoln, and with your support, we'll continue to use our challenging spirit to help propel this state forward. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.